Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Vaccination is the best way to protect people against COVID-19. This story takes center stage in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Thursday, 19th August 2021. Details when we return.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. In Barbados, vaccination is being touted as the best way to protect people against COVID-19. Details in this Barbados Today news story.
President of the Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners, Dr. Linda Williams, reiterated this position as she addressed public concerns on the issue during the government's third town hall meeting held at the Dayton Griffith Secondary School on Monday night.
Although your body has experienced the flu before, when you now encounter the influenza again, it is not exactly the same as the one you encountered before. So even though you may have had some immunity, the immunity wanes over time. So your immunity wanes over time. How much time it takes for our immunity to wane against COVID completely, we are still studying that. We're still looking at how long that immunity lasts. Hold on, let me finish. You spoke, I'm speaking. Okay? And the second part of that is that while you are waning from the immunity of the variant that you experience, other variants are coming into the space to which you have not developed immunity. So what we found is that people who were initially infected with the what we call the original strain that came out of China back in early in 2020, they also went on to get COVID sometimes more than one time. So their immunity, which they had to the original variant, waned, and they became susceptible and were infected again.
A clinical psychologist is recommending one way to tackle vaccine hesitancy as some individuals continue to express reservations about COVID-19 vaccines. ABS's Shanakisha Francis reports.
Vaccine hesitancy has led to slow vaccine uptake at vaccination sites across this country. A major contributing factor is a lack of education on vaccines, so says clinical psychologist Jonelle Walsh. What she recommends includes the door-to-door approach of public education.
We have to really give persons all the information. And when I say meet people where they're at, we're going to have to now start doing door-to-door. You know, when there's election, the politicians come door to door to give you all the information about their particular party. It's those things that we need to get back to.
Walsh says this will serve as an opportunity to answer individual and unclear questions that residents may have about the vaccines on offer.
If you find that a person says, I don't want to take the vaccine because I don't know what's in it, here is now your opportunity to explain to that person that this is what's in the vaccine. So the reality is we need to meet people at their crossroads. We can't just sit back and think that the media, just using the media is enough. We have to get to them. And how do we get to them is by going to them.
She advocates for a better understanding of the human psyche by public health officials in order to increase the number of people who are willing to take the jab.
We need to do more in terms of reaching persons if we want persons to take the vaccine. And we have to do a little bit more educating and understanding the human psyche of how they operate when it comes to change and anxiety.
Walsh says the main issue is fear, and fear often originates from a lack of knowledge. For ABS News, Shanikisha Francis reporting.
Over in St. Lucia, opposition leader Alan Chastanet is currently out of the island and so was not present at the first sitting of the House since the new SLP administration was sworn in. Richard Frederick, who worked under Alan Chastanet's leadership at one time but was expelled from the UWP following differences between the two, is not surprised by Mr. Chastanet's absence. Don Nicholas of DBS News World reports.
Opposition member Bradley Felix, who is the only other UWP MP in the House of Assembly apart from Alan Chastanet, confirmed that Mr. Chastanet is currently off island and as a result was unable to attend Tuesday's inaugural sitting of the House of Assembly since the SLP assumed office. But what is important to Mr. Felix is that the opposition party does its best to represent the interests of the 37,000 people who voted for them at the July 26 polls.
For one, we will not oppose just for opposing sake. You know, we represent at least 37,000 people who supported us, and we will be very, very watchful as to what the government is doing and ensure that we speak on behalf of the people of the country.
The leader of the opposition has already come under criticism for missing the first session of Parliament, but UWP Senator Dominic Fede says the opposition leader deserves a rest and that he would not make much of Mr. Chastanet's absence on Tuesday.
He's entitled for a rest. He's been going very hard, managing and running this country at a very, very difficult time in the pandemic, which we're still going through, does require and demand a lot of energy and causes a lot of stress on the head of country. And I think that it then would require him to get some rest. You know, it's the summertime, he's got a family, and he's got young children, and now is the time to get some rest.
But Castries Central MP Richard Frederick holds a different view and says he's not surprised by the opposition leader's absence.
It wouldn't be the only one he'll be missing quite a few.
Mr. Chastanet and Mr. Bradley Felix were the only ones who won their seats on behalf of the United Workers' Party in the July elections. For the DBS News World, I'm Don Nicholas.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Haitians left homeless following Saturday's 7.2 deadly magnitude earthquake were forced to hunker down in tent shelters as Tropical Storm Grace dumped heavy showers near the worst hit areas, compounding their crisis. More in this Reuters TV news item.
Heavy rain fell over Lakai, the southern coastal city that bore the brunt of the 7.2 magnitude earthquake that killed more than 1,400 people across Haiti. Inside a tent city, hundreds of people scrambled to repair makeshift coverings made of wooden poles and tarps that were destroyed by Grace overnight. Some took cover under plastic sheets.
The rain fell on top of us. We slept sitting down on chairs. Nobody has come to help us. We have no tarps. We sleep here sitting down. I don't want to go home. I am in God's hands.
It's not good here by the coast. My home was destroyed. I have nothing to use to sleep. Look, there's lots of children here. I really have nothing.
The storm complicated rescue efforts and made it difficult to provide aid and relief to hundreds of thousands left struggling for food, water, or shelter. According to Haitian authorities, with about 37,312 houses destroyed by the quake, and many of those still unexcavated, the death toll is expected to rise.
A fiery speech delivered by Congressman Hakeem Jeffries at an anti-PPP rally in Guyana and march in Brooklyn, New York over the weekend has been rebuffed by Prime Minister of Guyana, who has also called for the congressman to meet and talk with the government. HGP's Wendell Badri has the details.
And the first thing that I think the Biden administration needs to do is to get rid of the Trump-appointed ambassador to Guyana. It's time for you to go.
The Prime Minister, Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, in a press release on Sunday, reacting to those statements made by Congressman Jeffries, said that his government finds the congressman's statements to be quite appalling, while he also noted that his government is utterly disappointed by the fact that Jeffries has allowed himself to be, and I quote, negatively influenced by individuals who are adamant in destroying the country by instigating violence and division, end quote. Phillips also urged the congressman to desist from joining with those individuals whom he said are bent on creating chaos at home and abroad. In the same breath, the Prime Minister invited the congressman to engage his government through discussions in matters of mutual interest. Meanwhile, the leader of the opposition, Joseph Harmon, released a statement on Monday afternoon thanking the U.S. politician for his statements, while also hailing him as a champion of democracy and justice. The rally, which was organized by the Guyanese Organizations Against Racism, was held at the Grand Army Plaza in Brooklyn, New York on Sunday and attracted a large gathering, including members of parliament locally and other supporters of the coalition government. Errol Lewis, who is the chairman of the North American faction of the PNCR and one of the organizers of the event, posited that his party intends to shine the spotlight on racial injustice, among other authoritarian policies being implemented by the current regime.
The PDP is showing their true colors. They are showing that they are dictators, but we are here today to send a message to you that we Guyanese in the diaspora will not sit back and do nothing. We will not turn a blind eye to the marginalization of our people.
Congressman Jeffries also reminded the gathering that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, as he pledged to treat with the issue of injustice on these shores.
And to make it clear to everyone around the world that we will not tolerate racism. We will not tolerate intolerance. We will not tolerate bigotry. We will not tolerate hatred. We will not tolerate xenophobia. We will not tolerate racially motivated violence. We will not tolerate discrimination. We will not tolerate injustice. And we will stand together until we end that situation in Guyana.
The rally in the U.S. follows a number of scandals that have rocked the PPP administration since taking office in August 2020. Among those, a vaccine scandal where it was revealed through the National Assembly that the government was paying a hefty price for the procurement of several doses of the Sputnik V vaccine, which it acquired through a middleman connected to a sheikh of the United Arab Emirates. There have also been talks of the vaccine not being approved by the World Health Organization. The PPP found itself in another quandary sometime in June when it was revealed again in the National Assembly that the government of the day is seeking to establish a joint security team to tackle crime, a move the opposition has labeled as unconstitutional, while accusing the government of setting up a parallel security force. More recently, the administration has faced demonstrations in some parts of the country over a move some deem as a violation of their human rights, as the government of the day imposed measures barring unvaccinated persons from accessing many governmental services, inclusive of access to health care. President Ali, via a press release on Monday, labeled the rally as dishonest, filled with hate, lies, and race baiting, while he further stated that those utterances would not distract him from working hard for all Guyanese. He further iterated that, and I quote, while persons continue to fabricate stories, his job remains focused on enhancing the lives of all Guyanese, end quote. The president also asserted that the congressman's actions should be examined, given his utterances at the rally. Reporting for the HGP Nightly News, Wendell Badri.
Did you know that your friends and family can now shop at the Food Fair from anywhere in the world, and you can receive here in Grenada? The Food Fair and GrenadaMarket.com now make it possible through secure online shopping and personalized customer service. Simply send your loved ones a list of your preferred items or let them fill an online basket, and the items will be available for pickup or delivery. Visit GrenadaMarket.com or thefoodfair.gd today for more details. The new norm. Spread the news.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.